True lovers, have you ever looked at your dating history and thought, wow, if bad decisions were a type, I definitely have one. Same red flags, different fonts. It's like the universe is saying, until you learn the lesson, we will keep sending you Chad in a Man Bun who does energy work but never texts back. Hi, I'm Haim with Beloved Media, and today we'll chat about the juncture between the wisdom of the Tao Te Ching and your love life. I'm passionate about blending ancient wisdom with modern heartache and helping true lovers like you stop picking spiritual detours wearing cologne. I have a confession to make, but before I do that, and before we dive in, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap that little bell because your next soul-aligned partner might just be waiting on the other side of a better algorithm. My confession is, I have been married and divorced more times than I care to admit. And the truth is, I have 3 failed marriages on my belt. And no, it's not something I'm proud of. And no, it's not something I was hoping for when I was an 18-year-old. And no, it's not something that I don't wish every day that I didn't have to go through. But the truth is, certain lessons are meant to be learned the hard way. I went through this so that some of you won't have to go through it. And no, the alternative of never even taking a chance, never even taking a risk, is not necessarily a good one either. Never having gone into a serious relationship with all the blessings and advantages that it brings to you, even if it's hard sometimes. But my success story ended with me ending my last relationship, which embarrassingly enough was the worst relationship I had and the most toxic up until that point. So I didn't even learn the lessons I needed to learn from my first and second one. Why? Call it desperation for having your own family after what I've been through in my childhood. Call it the desire to be a family man. Call it whatever you want. But I didn't do the right decisions when they needed to be made. Specifically about how to choose the right partner, and even more important, how to be the right partner so that you attract the right partner. But here I was, right when the pandemic of 2020 hit the world, and I realized I needed to make a serious change in the way I look at love, romance, and life in general. And I dove into the wisdom of the Tao Te Ching, the wisdom of Buddhism, and the wisdom of Kabbalah, things I was familiar with, but really did some serious shadow work, as my wife and best friend Rachel likes to call it, shadow work. And 18 months later, from that point that I made that decision, I met Rachel, and the rest is history. And that's a story for another video. How that relationship started, and how it unfolded, and how several years later, not only we're happily married, but I'm truly married to my best friend, stepmother of my beloved 8-year-old, and my role model in many aspects. So let's dive into verse 8 of the Tao Te Ching. This is a Tao Te Ching series, and before we dive in, just know that it's not a matter of do all 81 verses of the Tao Te Ching give you distinct wisdoms, distinct advice to life. Don't they overlap? Oh, surely some of them overlap. But the truth is, it's not about learning something for the very, very first time versus, even if I heard it 1,000 times, am I implementing it in my life? That is the question that I found myself needing to ask when I heard something for the 1,000th time. Oh, this is boring. I already heard it. Yeah, but I'm not implementing it. Or not implementing it as prescribed. Verse 8 of the Tao Te Ching, we'll start with quoting it. The supreme good is like water, which nourishes all things without trying to. It flows in low places that others disdain. Thus, it is like the Tao. In dwelling, live close to the ground. In thinking, keep to the simple. In conflict, be fair and generous. In governing, don't try to control. In work, do what you enjoy. In family life, be completely present. Now, I'm not going to try and analyze this amazing translation from Mitchell, who is the interpreter of this version. And what I want to do is I want to go over 5 wisdom points from this verse and how they apply to choosing a romantic partner. If you stick around all the way to the end, I promise to give you 3 practical tips for your love life, for choosing a partner based on this specific verse. So don't go anywhere. Nugget number 1. Nourishes without trying to, quote unquote. Choose someone who gives love like water, naturally, without needing applause for it. If love feels like a performance, it's not the Tao. It's a TikTok audition. In other words, humility. Look for humility, look for modesty. And hey, I could be a show off. That's something I just have to admit. Being aware of it is half the work. But when you're looking for a partner, when you're looking inwards, are you noticing some level of modesty? Are you noticing a level of humility? If somebody is a constant show-off, something to watch out for. Water, don't do it. And yet, they infuse life in the whole world. They just don't need the acknowledgement. 2, flows to low places others disdain. Based on the verse. Look for someone humble. If they can sit with their own darkness and yours without judgment, that's soul-rooted stability, not ego in disguise. Number 3, in thinking, keep to the simple. Pick a partner who doesn't complicate everything. Drama isn't passion. Simplicity is the soil where love grows roots. I'm sure a lot of you heard of the movement of minimalism. And that's something I hold dearly. Do I always do it just right? Who knows? I probably could do it way better. But if you look at our home environment, Rachel and I, you'll see a very simple home that has everything you need and maybe then some for us to live a joyful life and meet all our needs. But we don't have a 60-inch TV. We just don't care for it. The TV doesn't even exist in our room. We want to watch a video, we watch it on our laptop. Our furniture are fairly simple. You get the drift. You know, it's just we're not looking for the fancy. And hey, there's nothing wrong with enjoying the finer things in life if it gives you joy. But sometimes it's not because it gives us joy. Sometimes it's because we have to keep up with the Joneses. And I know you know what I'm talking about. As far as simplicity, another rule of thumb is the amount of rules that we involve in our relationship. For example, I remember with one of my exes, actually, it was more than one of them, there was for some reason, a proclivity to come up with rules. From now on, when you're doing the laundry, don't do it without asking me first. From now on, if you're doing the dishes, you better do it just the way I do it, and it's gotta be as sparkly clean as I like it to be. Yeah, I've lived through those kind of relationships. And in the moment, it seems like it's not a big deal. You feel the sting inside, like, okay, here we go. We just made up a new rule in our relationship. Somebody asked a father of 5 once, what is the one best rule you can give parents out there who handle more than one kid, or kids in general? You have 5 of them. How do you do it? And he said, I have only one rule. Have the least amount of rules. Simple. In conflict, be fair and generous. And to be honest, that is something that actually I utilized in a big way during my last divorce, which was a high conflict divorce with my ex and the mother of my child. Unfortunately, I realized later I was married to a narcissist, or somebody with narcissist inclination. I have a lot to say about that. That's a story for another video. But as I launched that petition for divorce in 2020, end of 2019, I was asking myself, as I was being introduced to this wisdom, to the wisdom of the Tao Te Ching, can I implement the principles of the Tao Te Ching in my divorce to keep it as with the least amount of conflict, even though it kind of felt impossible at the time, and so that I can grow with it and not sink to the lowest places that a lot of people who are going through this kind of conflict find myself in. Because the temptation for revenge and one-upping the other one and protect my rights in a way that is more toxic than not is very high, the temptation for that. So whenever I had to make a decision, I asked myself, based on this verse, verse 8, am I fair and generous? So pay attention. It's not enough to be fair. I also want to do something a little bit extra. And you will not feel like doing it in the moment when you have a high conflict situation or any kind of conflict. You want to feel that, but it's not fair. Well, be fair and generous. Do a little bit more for them. Because it's at the end of the day, it's for you. You're doing it for your relationship you're having with the Tao, with God, with spirit, with nature, whatever you want to call it. Watch how they argue. Are they trying to win or trying to understand? Compassion in conflict is a rare gem. Hold on to that. The last one, in family life, be completely present. Presence over potential. Someone fully here with you in the now beats someone promising the moon while texting someone else. And I know a lot of you went through some painful stories that you can share. Please share it in the comments. What was one example of an interaction or a relationship or a date you felt it was clear they were not fully with you, or maybe you were not fully with them? So presence. We have a rule, Rachel and I, no cell phones at the dinner table, and we don't use the phone while we're talking to each other. Are we doing it always perfect? No, but rest assured that if one of us is on the phone and the other one started the sentence, we will stop what we're saying mid-sentence without saying anything and wait, and the other one gets the hint, and then we're present with each other. We take a lot of walks. There's no cell phones while we're taking walks. I might have it in my back pocket in case somebody calls and I need to take it, but we're not texting while we're doing that. We're not doing any of it. We are with each other. So these were the 5 nuggets of wisdom based on verse 8. And before I jump into the promised 3 practical pieces of advice, hit that subscribe button. Help us out with the algorithm. Practical piece of advice number 1. Choose water, not fire. Passion fades. Steady, kind presence lasts. Ask yourself, do they feel like a wildfire or a river? We know how much, I know it from being a guy, being a man, and man-to-man conversations I had years ago when I still didn't understand some of those things. And there was always this conversation, or the occasional conversation about, oh, I'm dating this girl. Oh my God, she's so feisty. Now, nothing wrong with being feisty. I know I am one that can be such, but be careful whether there is indeed embedded kindness in there, or just the desire to be right and make someone wrong. Might not work. 2, look for emotional generosity. Are they the type to share their last bite of dessert and their inner world? Both matter, true lovers. Generosity is huge. For me, it was when I was watching Rachel as we got to know each other as in our first few months of dating. We actually, our first 3.5 months were virtual dating. She was 7,000 miles away from me. I was here in San Diego, California. And yet that gave us the best opportunity to get to know each other. One of the very first things that I got to know about her was that she nursed her 80-year-old father to health as best she could for 2 years. She had to live her whole life on the East Coast here in the US and left to her home country to be with her father so that she can do everything she can in the last years of his life. And indeed, he recovered for a while, and at the age of 84, he passed on with her next to his by his bedside, which is very, very special. Obviously, a generous, kind person. Not a lot of people do that. Now, it doesn't have to be that extreme, but ask yourself, do they volunteer? Did they volunteer in the past? Or it's just not part of their world? Do they go visit their grandma? Yes. Do they go visit their grandparents? To me, it's a big sign. A lot of us struggle with that. We don't feel like being, around old folks that might ramble. My mom tends to ramble. God bless her heart. I love her dearly. She rambles my ear off sometimes. But do they take the time to spend time with those loved ones, even when it's uncomfortable and not favorable? Am I doing it so that I can track somebody like that? Because at the end of the day, is how we treat others. And lastly, be water, attract water. Embody the qualities of stillness, presence, and flow. You'll naturally start attracting those who mirror the same. This is a good point to mention meditation. I was introduced to meditation however many years ago and started very small. I didn't really have the stillness to do that, to be with myself, to be okay with the silence that bring all my thoughts to the surface. And I started very small, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. Yes, even 1 minute meditation makes a big difference when it's done consistently. And I ended up getting to the point where I was meditating 50, 60 minutes a day or more at some point in my life, especially around the time right before I met Rachel. And that brought a lot of blessing into my life. Now it's just a regular routine of my life. Sometimes I skip a few days, but I'm aware of my need to be still, to be with silence. A lot of people don't even know the benefit of meditation. In fact, I fell in love with it that much, I became a certified hypnotherapist because I wanted to know more about it and maybe even serve some people in the process. In closing, true lovers, if you felt seen, soothed, or just spiritually smacked in the best way by this video, like it, comment your favorite line from the Tao or your last dating disaster. We won't judge. Share it with someone stuck in their own karmic rom-com, and subscribe to Be Love Media so we can keep flowing toward love and wisdom together. Namaste.